Okay, let's start our session today with recitation of Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, let me pin myself first and I make small. Okay, so today mark the halfway of the league, our Lichess League Masum 2021. So currently Safidin is remain the leader, undefeated now, just draw with Mizan. And Hafiz, Faiz and Huzaifi is catching up. So hopefully in the second league, these three guys can do something to Safidin lah. Because he is quite comfortable at the top now. So try your best, even for the sister. For the sister, please try to what we call play the second league better lah. Because what I saw in the first league is that most of the sister problem is because of the blunder. Okay, as I said in the WhatsApp group just now, blunder mean that you give thing free. Okay, you give thing free for free. It's not like you make a mistake. A mistake is just, for example, your opponent move a pawn like this, and then you like suddenly you cannot avoid the fork. That sort of not a blunder normally. That is kind of the mistake because of your accumulation of previous mistake. Blunder is just something that totally oversight. Like you give a piece for free, you overlook the checkmate and so on. Okay, so sister Sarah, Kur, Aisyah, I think you three mostly your mistake mostly because of the blunder. Okay, Umuhani, your mistake mostly because of not mistake. I mean your problem mostly about the end game lah. Hani, Nuril, I don't really see. I cannot see all of you lah. Still don't have time to see all of you, but what I can say, this Aisyah, Kur and Sarah, most of your mistake mostly because of blunder lah. Blunder. So hopefully you can do something in the second league, and we have another 11 round to go. Total will be 22 round. So in the second league, if you play Safidin white, if you in the first league, if you place your opponent white, then this next league you will play with black. Okay, enough with that. So let's close this thing. Okay, so first let me go to here first, to the schedule first. Okay, because yesterday I cannot finish the opening, so I make the today's morning will be opening part 2, and then in the evening after this is middle game part 1, and then middle game part 2, meaning that I push away ni lah, because previously this is middle game 1 and 2. But because I want to make it fair, so every phase of the game, for example opening, middle game and end game, are given 2 session lah. And because of that, here previously you start present here, I mean on Sunday somewhere here, previously Kur and Hafiz will present here, but I will change to coaching number 8 in order to accommodate the end game number 2. So where is Hafiz and Kur, you will present because both of you have academic class and also the internship. I will push you on the last day during the wrapping up day. Okay, so during the last day, which is on Saturday, which is weekend, you will present first. You and Kur, Hafiz and Kur will present first, and then straight away after that we will finish up, meaning that we will finish up wrapping up lah. So at 11 like that, brother Lutfi will come and give his final say, and then I will ask a team manager to give something to you, and then each player try to say something lah, and then finally my final say. So that's wrapping up the entire coaching schedule. So for this Saturday, the last day of our session will be 3 hours lah. The first 2 hours is presentation, Hafiz and Kur, and then the last right after we finish this coaching number 14, we wrap up straight away the final day. by yeah, whatever you want to say during this thing lah. Okay, currently for now you will see that all I'm doing the talking. This, all this I'm doing the talking. But if you have any question, you can interject during the during the presentation lah. Please make sure you mute your mic so that we don't hear any background noise. So that later on during the while I giving you the recording of this session, then it's easy for you to hear lah. If you have any question, you can just open your mic and just interject me. So here in the first phase is more about you hearing me, but then the second phase is more about you talking, okay, rather than me talking, and then we end. So that is the plan. Hopefully we don't change anymore this plan. Yeah. So let's go to this database. Okay, yesterday. Okay, what we talked yesterday? Yesterday we talked about the what we call the opening, okay, the most popular opening. And in order to see the most popular opening, let me close this first. You need to see the statistic of the games, and I have like millions of game in my database, so that is good database to extract some data. So as I show you before, this is like a opening tree for all the game that is in my database, what they are playing. So you can see the what we call the most famous one is E4, D4, NF3, and C4. Okay. You might ask why NF3. So here, why this NF3 is okay, but why not NC3? Okay, why not NC3 is okay? Because you see the distance between NF3 and NS3 is so far, but both are knight, right? So the reason for this is because if you play NC3, is quite what we call inflexible lah. NS3 is we can say quite inflexible because first it flexible because first it sort of like block this pawn. You block this pawn. Normally in this position for white, normally they want to castle the king side, so you block this pawn, so it's quite inflexible. And another reason is because when black play this, okay, when black play this pawn is cannot be taken lah, because the what we call this queen protect this pawn. This pawn tend to last into here, and the knight need to move somewhere lah. But if you play NC3, for example like this, you cannot play this thing lah, because this is undefended. So that's the reason why you can see that in the opening book statistic, you can see NC3 doesn't do well compared to NF3. So Safidin, you are okay with NF3 lah. That's one of the what we call the not. I don't say that when you play NC3 you lost. No, if you know how to play, then it's okay. But people don't play this because it's quite inflexible. Okay, and also you might ask why the C4. You see the C4 here. the C4 you have 57,000 of the games start with C4, but F4, which is sort of like mirror of C4, you have like 10 times less. You see 57,000, 570,000. This is only 57,000. If you look here, both this control this square, and also F also control this square. The reason why the F4 is not so popular because first, if you play first, it doesn't address the development lah. Because if you play this, you can develop your bishop and also your queen. But if you play this, the development you don't really have the development of your piece, and also you weaken the what you call this diagonal lah. Compare with the C4, then you don't weaken any diagonal for your king. So that's the idea. And also what else? And also you also see there are development like G3, B3, G3, and then B3 like this, and also sometimes B4. Okay, so B3 here we call it Larsen opening. This is a Larsen, and B4 here, This before we call it Sokolsky. Sokolsky. I tell you a little bit about the name because at your level, when you try to read some chess book or whatever, you watch a YouTube, if you heard this name, then it's easy for you lah. So this is Sokolsky opening, or we call it Polish, or we call it orang utan. So we have some name there, some Malay or some Indonesian name in the chess opening. So this before is Sokolsky. So B3 is, we call it Larsen opening. This is transpose lah, many opening. This transpose Catalan or whatever. The F4 we call it bird bird opening, and then C4 we call it English. So English, and then NS3 is, we call it Reti lah. NS3 is, we call it dance. This is dance opening. Okay, dance. Just for you, so that when you read the chess literature, it's much easier for you to ni lah, to understand this. So this is Reti lah. But you can, from the Reti, you can change into Catalan whatsoever. Okay, so B4 and B3 is not as popular as E4 and E5. The reason because even though when you play B3 and you aim to play the, what we call this view, let me insert the null move so that I can move this thing. So even though you play B3 with the, what we call, with the plan to put your bishop, to Fanketo your bishop on B2, okay, this configuration we call it Fanketo. Fanketo, okay. The configuration for those who are new here. So the configuration when you put the bishop on the side here between this G2 or G7 or B7, we call it Fanketo. Although this bishop, they control the center. In the last class, we mentioned about the importance of controlling the center. They control the center from far, from peripheral, okay. So it's not as strong as you control the center by putting things on the center itself. So that's why if you look here in the statistic, you can see the B3, so what is the thing? So the B3 and B4 is quite low, okay. So that's the idea why some opening is more popular than the others lah. Okay. So, and for, if you play E4, the most probable response that you will see is C5. So this is what we call Sicilian. So this is Sicilian. And if you look in my, what we call, yesterday I give you this thing, chess knowledge mapping. So let's open that first. Where is the thing? Okay. So this is basically, this I give you in the WhatsApp group yesterday. So it's like a reference. It's cheat sheet, yeah, whatever. So it's easy for you to see everything. Let's say you don't understand what this symbol means, so then you can just look at here and understand, and ni lah. So yeah, we go here in the opening. If you look here in the opening, the most famous one is E4 and D4. And each of the opening here, this is major opening. Each of the opening have their own sub-variation. For example, the variation here, for example, Sicilian, you have many variation for the Sicilian. For example, if you have this classical dragon, Najdov, associated dragon, Sozin, Shelby, Taimanov, Khan, Shvenikov, Kalashnikov. So, for example, let's say here you have this Sicilian, but if you play like this, you have this Alapin. Okay, so this Alapin. And then if you play like this, we call it open Sicilian. When you start play like this, we call new version, we start call it as a open Sicilian. Compare when you play D3 like this, C3, so this is what we call the closed Sicilian lah. Closed Sicilian. Okay, understanding the name is not really important, but if you know the name, normally the name of any opening will be associated with some of the structure later on. For example, in closed Sicilian is when you play closed Sicilian, normally the plan for the white, when let's say you are black and you play Sicilian and your opponent play the closed Sicilian and C3, okay, and C3. So when people play closed Sicilian, there are certain structure that is embedded in that. For example, white plan normally like this. Normally when you play closed Sicilian, they want to go to Grand Prix attack. This is what we call Grand Prix attack lah. Grand Prix attack, Grand Prix attack. So this is one of the idea of a close Sicilian. So you know that later on what will go like this, internal move, they go like this, and then somehow like this lah. Somehow this may be here, but the idea is like this, and then internal move, and then like this, and then like this, internal move, and then the queen normally they will go here, and then start going here later on. Okay, so that is the idea of in what we call in close Sicilian. So when you understand the name, so you sort the name is not really important, but what's more important, the structure that arises from the name. Because if you know that structure, what the common structure come from the associated opening, then you can prepare very well lah. So this is close Sicilian, and normally they goes this configuration lah. Normally, that doesn't mean that every time it go like this, but most of the common plan in the close Sicilian is this. You try to play f2, f4, and then you attack on the king side, on the what we call on the black king side. So that's one of the idea of close Sicilian. It seems like tame. For example, close Sicilian, when you play close Sicilian, it seems not sharp, because open Sicilian, the characteristic of open Sicilian is sharp. So the characteristic of open Sicilian, it is sharp opening, sharp opening, meaning that if you make mistake, one small mistake can cost you a game. Okay, but when people play close Sicilian at the beginning, if you don't know anything related to close Sicilian, okay, you might think that okay, NC3 is not sharp, so it's just like a very modest opening. But if you know the plan, the reason why they played NC3 first, not NF3, is because to move this. So that's the main idea lah. The main idea, the main idea of this lah. Okay, before some player they straight away play this. Okay, so this is what we call the proper Grand Prix lah. Proper Grand Prix, the name proper as Grand Prix opening. Okay. The reason why you don't really see this much nowadays is because black can equalize, sort of like equalize easily by playing this. Okay, by playing d5 and then breaking the center, not breaking the center lah, but at least challenge the center straight away. But if you see close Sicilian, the close Sicilian, it protect this thing. So white cannot play this, black cannot play this, and only then the white can play f4. White will play f4. That's the idea behind why people play close Sicilian. They want to go for this Grand Prix attack. This is what we call Grand Prix attack. And Grand Prix attack is quite fearsome lah, in terms of if you play Sicilian, you need to know lah how to deal with the Grand Prix attack, because this 2 pound is very dangerous lah. This 2 pound can be very dangerous. Normally in the Sicilian, you as a black, you want to castle here lah. Okay, one more thing about this. Even though you don't play Sicilian, even though Sicilian is not your, let's say you are black, you don't really care about Sicilian. You play e4, e5, you play e5. Or let's say you are white, you play d4. So then you don't care about Sicilian, whatever. Even though like that, learning about different opening system can teach you a lot of things. Okay, you might say, okay, I don't need to know about Sicilian, I don't play that. But by studying Sicilian, you know how to deal with this Grand Prix attack, or like f4, f5 attack, and so on. Regardless whether you play this is your opening or not, learning other opening can sort of like help you understanding the structure. Okay. So this is Grand Prix attack. So I just want to show you some of the variation of the Sicilian, because if you look here, there are many variation of the Sicilian. Just want to show you the sub variation lah. Just give you the idea. So as I said, this NF3 is the open Sicilian, the start of open Sicilian, and in open Sicilian there are a lot of variation lah. So for example, you can play this. This is what we call time and off. So this is time and off. So one of the, normally when you play Sicilian, when you are black, some of you Mizan, for example, you are Sicilian player, you should know a little bit about this. If you play Sicilian, normally if you are white, you play against Sicilian, normally most of the time you will see, if you see here, opening book, you will see the common reply for NF3 is D6. Okay, is D6. Okay, okay. Normally when you play open Sicilian, you will see the black will play D6 instead of E6. Okay, instead of E6. The reason for D6 is just to avoid this thing and so on lah. But this is what normally you see. But you can also see this. Sometimes you play this, and if you always face D6 and never face E6, you might think that okay, E6 is not really dangerous and so on. But one of the typical characteristic of E6 or Taimanov Sicilian is that if you play Taimanov or Paulsen, I think Taimanov or Paulsen, if I'm not mistaken, Paulsen, but I call it Taimanov lah. One of the characteristics of this E6 pawn is that you allow this bishop to go out. Okay, and this is important thing to consider, because in Sicilian, if you are white, you normally play this and this and this, and this bishop somehow, when you put your knight here, let's say later on, let's say you play this and then you put knight here, this bishop can go to b4, and if you are white player, and if you are not used with this E6 move, then this can be quite troublesome. Not troublesome in that you sort of like thrown off out of your familiar territory. Okay, because you somehow this bishop trying to capture this, and then you cannot castle on the queen side because it's break the structure and so on. And when you capture this also will become weak. This pawn will become weak and so on. So understanding some basic idea in opening can help you to prepare in advance. Okay, so this is Taimanov. Normally you don't see this. If you are white, if your opponent plays c5, normally they will use d6. Okay, and from d6 the branch of the Sicilian will diverge lah. For example, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. So normally here, this is the position what we call the tabia. The tabia. This is the start of branching of the Sicilian, what we call Sicilian variation. For example, you have dragon here. So this dragon, sometimes when you try to fianchetto on G7 in Sicilian, we call this a dragon formation. So if this bishop is normally called as a dragon bishop, okay. Normally when you read chess literature or you watch any YouTube, if sometime they say that dragon bishop, this is what mean by dragon bishop. Normally come from the Sicilian, but people commonly say this is dragon bishop lah. Dragon bishop. If the bishop is here, they normally call it as Catalan bishop, because Catalan opening is characterized by this bishop at G2. Okay, so this dragon, I don't want to go to detail because all this theory. Because for example, this in dragon you play like this, and then you play like this, and then you play like this, and then this is all this. When I make the move here, all this is basically the theory lah. All this is basically the theory. Okay. So all this thing is a theory. Theory mean that people already study that thing in depth, and then if you make some mistake, if you try to divert into a certain move, then they either they have some refutation, or if the person that you play or the opponent that you play know the theory well, then they can really get a quick advantage lah. There are reason why they are move order like this and so on. Okay. Okay, so there is a dragon. So this start from the tabia here. So this dragon. So you put this is dragon, and then you when you make this is what we call Scheveningen. Scheveningen is basically name of the beach in Netherlands. Scheveningen. I don't know how to spell, but this Scheveningen. This Scheveningen. And then what else? Then you have and then you have this. This is Richter-Rauser. So this is Richter-Rauser. I think Mizan you play this right, Richter-Rauser. or we call that as a classical lah. Classical Sicilian. Normally earliest, this is what a Sicilian mean. They play this. Okay, but the most famous among all, if you look here, if you look in the tabiah here, if I go to opening book, you see the most famous is A6. Okay, you see the A6 goes to 2000 is far how many times bigger than the second option. So there are reasons why if you look, if you have statistics, somehow you get the idea why this opening is not better. I don't say that dragon or net is not is less better than others. It's just like people play that because it give more chance, it give more dynamic chance for the black to win compared to others lah. It is more dynamic because when people play Sicilian, when you are play E4 and your opponent play C5, you know that your opponent is sharp. You know your opponent is aggressive player. That's one thing. Because Sicilian, the characteristic of Sicilian is what we call, it's very sharp opening, and any mistake can cost you just simply a game. So you see that A6 is what we call the most common lah. So this is what we call the most famous is a Najdov lah. So Najdov is basically popularized by Fischer and also Kasparov. So this Najdov and so on lah. And also you can have this cross-pollination. Meaning what I mean by cross-pollination, when you play Najdov, normally, for example, when you play like this, let's say white play like this, the proper Najdov mean this, okay? The proper Najdov is E5, okay? The proper Najdov. But of course, you can also cross-pollinate. This also Najdov Chevy. We call it Najdov Chevinengen. So this cross-pollinate lah. If some of you, maybe the new person, if quite overwhelmed with all this information, I don't want to know about this, all this name and so on. I tell you here is because it's, as I said before, it's easy for you to read the chess literature later on. Because some of you, maybe you want to sort of like play again in the Masum next year. So you need to improve your play lah. And one way to improve your play is that to improve your opening. Okay, you improve opening. And in order to understand the opening, for example, you want to go to YouTube. You cannot put in the YouTube E4, E5 like that. You need to know the name. If you don't know the name, if you go to YouTube, for example, if you go to YouTube like this, let's say you go here and then you go to YouTube. Where is the YouTube? Let's say YouTube. You go to YouTube and then you want to know your some opening. You don't just put in the YouTube E4, 1, E4, E5, and then 2, because YouTube will not give you the result that you type, because this is quite specific. It's much better because you may get some result lah. For example, let's say this is Scotch. You might get some. It's not Scotch. It's a center game. You get some result, but it's not. The result might not be what you want lah. If you know the name of the opening, then it's easy for you to learn from YouTube and so on. That's the reason why I tell you the name of this opening, so that if you want to study your opening, then it's very easy to go to YouTube and type the name of the opening rather than just pondering what is this name, what is that. So I just give you the idea. So this is a Najdov Chevinengen, so we call it Najdov Chevy, whatever lah, Chevinengen, I call it Najdov Chevinengen, and so on. And there are certain time for if you are playing white against the Sicilian, you need to consider also some what we call some non Tabia Sicilian formation. People call it anti-Sicilian lah. For example, you play this, people can play this Rossolimo. So this is Rossolimo, because normally when you play Sicilian, when you are black, you play like this, D6, and then normally you are used people play d4. Normally, you are used people play d4 against you. But sometimes there are people who play differently. This is Rosolimo or Moscow variation. So you need to know how to deal with this. And also people can play this alapin and so on lah. This alapin, they play c3 in order to get the center and so on. This is what we call the side, not sideline, but the anti-Sicilian. Because normally when people call Sicilian, people want to go here. This, when people talk about Sicilian, open Sicilian, most importantly, they want to go this tabia position, T-A-B-I-Y-A, tabia. Tabia mean something that is common known position lah, the standard setup. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. And also be careful also that when you play like this, when you play this thing which like this, for the white, you need to also know some people. I think I don't know, in Malaysia there are quite number of people like to play this Khan or Kalashnikov lah. They are the name maybe Khan or Kalashnikov, I don't remember which one, but this is Kalashnikov. They are also Khan variation and so on. They just go straight away. So you need to know, do you want to eat, do you want to go here, do you want to go back, and so on. So be ni lah, you need to study your ni lah. I cannot tell you for each variation because all of you not playing Sicilian, but and some of you might play d4, might play Petrov, might play and that's so on lah. So I cannot go in detail, but I just give you the idea so that you can start your study, your journey to study the opening that you like, so that at least the most important thing, you understand the idea behind the opening. For example, the Sicilian, this tabia, the idea of the black normally like this. Normally black want to go, the idea for the black, normally black want to go like this, internal move. No, this is normally black want to, let's say black play Najdov. Normally the plan for the black is to play this, either this or this. Let's say you want to play this, but normally most of the Sicilian, the idea of the Sicilian, they want to control this c5 lah. So you most often see that in Sicilian, you will see this thing, and then you will see the setup mostly like this, and then the bishop here, and then let's say the bishop here, and then the bishop here, and then this knight here, and then the rook will come here. So this is basically standard setup in Sicilian. So if you are white, you know this is the black try to sort of like control this this c5, and normally for white, the plan for white usually is to launch the Yugoslav attack or Keres attack. So normally for white, I just give the null move. I just put null just to show you the setup lah. Just to show you the setup. Normally it's like this. For the white, the white will try to attack on the king side, while black try to attack on the queen side. So this is queen side. You have a queen here. So this all here, all this here until down here, this is queen side lah. Okay, all that thing is queen side. So this rest, this part, this is what we call the king side lah. The king side. So the king side. So if you look here, you can see that the Sicilian is very sharp. You are castling opposite side with each other, and they try to launch an attack. Which one get first normally win lah. Typically win. So that's why Sicilian is characterized. The characteristic of Sicilian is aggressive opening. So if you don't know what you do, then it's easily you are easily get loose lah if you don't know the theory and so on. So this is basically the idea. The most important thing, the name is important for you to study, but for you to play, the most important thing is you to understand the typical plan, typical standard plan. Once you know the plan, then you can sort of like know, okay, this guy will play this, most probability this guy will play this thing, and so on. Okay, So it will save you time during play. I saw in the liches, 20 minutes is quite short. 20 minutes is quite short, even though you don't need to write, even though you don't need to touch the what we call the 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 clock. The computer did for you, the liches did for you. So that's one of the benefit of the online. But 20 minutes, even though you don't need to write and also touch the clock, it still seems quite short for some of you. Okay, you get yeah. So if you know a plan in advance, somehow you can sort of like save some time thinking and do your thinking for something else lah. So that's one of the advantage of knowing the idea, the plan of certain opening in advance. Okay, now, so that's just the idea lah, just the idea. Okay, I just give you some idea. So this is a reti. I just give you just the name lah. So at least for you to study of if you play lah. So when you play e4, okay. So this is what we call the standard, the e pawn opening lah. So normally they don't have name for this, because from this after this there are a lot of name. For example, if you play this, if Safidin play this is Petrov. Okay, this is Petrov or Russian. Petrov or Russian opening. Normally Petrov and Russian opening, the idea for Petrov is that the idea for Petrov is this: white attack the e pawn, so black said, okay, you attack me, so I attack you again. So that's the idea of Petrov. Normally Petrov is associated with dull and boring, but because of black is dull and boring, I mean in terms of position, normally white will take it for granted. I mean that it's easy to play against Petrov, but it's very hard to break the Petrov. So that not dull. I mean that it's not dull and boring. Sorry, it's not dull and boring, but it's solid. Petrov is solid. It's very solid lah. It's very hard for white to win against Petrov at top level. Okay, that's why at the top level, remember players in the top level, they won the game not because blunder. Not because their opponent make a blunder. Because remember, there are two person. Both this person are very good. So they need to, in order for one person to win against another person, they just need to, the way how they win is to accumulate the small advantage. So Petrov opening somehow they prevent white to gain. It's very solid lah. It's very solid. That's why, if you are black, if at top level player, if they want to draw, mostly they play Petrov, or maybe they play Berlin Wall in Roy Lopez and so on, because at top level draw is good enough for black. Okay, at top level I say at top level, not in the our level and or in the strong level, but at very top level, the super grandmaster level. For them, draw is good enough for black. But for white, they want to win, because for them, white is the first one to move, so they should win. But black is the second one to move, so to get the draw is okay. So that's the idea at the top level. But of course, normally in the very top level, it's very rare for you to see, not very rare, I mean that most people, if you play e4 at top level, they play e5, right? But you can see this, but no, because if you want to play c5 Sicilian, you need to know a lot of theory. Okay, in top level, normally if the white play e4, normally black normally like to go to Ray Lopez lah, the Ray Lopez. So what is Ray Lopez? So this is Petrov, the one that I say you, Petrov or Russian. So this, when you play this thing, and then you play this bishop here, this is Ray Lopez. This is the most common lah. For example, if you go to opening book, that's one of the good thing about this thing lah. You can see straight away which one is the most popular lah. Which one is the most popular? Bishop b5. Okay, this is we call it Rai Lopez. Where is the thing? So this is Rai Lopez, or we call it Spanish. Okay. So and then in the Spanish, like a Sicilian, under Spanish there are a lot of variation. The idea is to know the idea behind the Spanish. So normally in Spanish, Rai Lopez, you play this, and then you go this, and then you play this, and then you play this, and then you play this. The idea for so this play this and play this and so on. The idea for white, normally white want to get this configuration. I just put null move. Normally the white want to get this configuration. This is not in correct move order, but I just do ni lah. So this will normally come here, and this come here, and this come here. Normally in Rai Lopez, white want to get this configuration. Normally, and black will play a lot of play that black can adopt lah. Okay, so that is the idea in Rai Lopez. The most important, you understand the idea behind each opening, behind the opening that you commonly play, so that you can prepare in advance. Okay. So that is Rai Lopez, and then this is Guico Piano, or this is what we call Guico Piano, or what we call Italian. Okay, Italian opening. Okay, under like Sicilian, after the Guico Piano there are sub variation like Moller attack, like there are a lot of variation after this. And also you have this two knights. So for example, the most common for the Guico Piano, I think this Nuril play Guico Piano mostly. Nuril Mio play Guico Piano. So against black normally they play this. So this is the idea for bishops. This thing is to attack this thing. So the idea is that where is this Guico Piano? So when you black play this, white cannot play this first, because normally they want to attack this, but white cannot play this first because the queen can capture the knight. So because white need to move this first in order to play this and attack this, so black can take that time to do this, and then if white play this, black can castle, and this is protected by the king and the rook. Remember in the first class or second class, I talked about this thing. Bishop is 3, the value is 3, the knight is 3, the rook, the value is 5, the pawn is 1, so this is 6, but if white capture this thing, even though the relative value is 6 versus 6, but the exchange is not good for white lah, because the piece, the bishop and knight is more important in middle game than the rook and pawn. Okay, so that's the idea why in Guico Piano you will see that black play this. Okay, black play this. Okay, if you look here in the statistic also, you can see, is it correct? Bishop c5 is the first common move by black. But if black is tactical person, if black like the sharp position, black will play this. This is two knight defense. Okay, you might think, oh, this two knight defense, why black allow white to play this? Because when you play knight here, you already this square not protected by the queen anymore, so knight can go here and attack here, right? So this is one of the concept in two knights defense. So this is let me put the name. What the thing? This is two knight defense. Normally this defense is used by the player that aggressive, because when you play this, black can play this thing. Normally, later on we see some game by you. Sometime when you are attack at f7, if you think that you cannot protect this f7, you try to look at this. Okay, try to look at this push. Okay, even though you think, okay, oh, this is free, so I can just eat. I cannot eat back because the bishop can eat. But that's, you can just move it out. This knight can move out, and then at least now this pawn is not attacked yet. Okay, so that's you like self-blocking. So the white do self-blocking, and at the same time this knight attacking the bishop. Okay, so you check. So this is in what we call this is a theory in two knights defense. So like this, and then go like this, and then you go like this. So it's quite crazy here. Okay, so it's quite crazy game. That's why if you are playing Italian or Greco piano, if you are white, please also know a little bit about this two knight defense, because this is one of the two famous reply for bishop c4. Either this, normally you will find this, or you play this, or your opponent will play this. If you want to be safe, you just play this lah. Okay, you play this if you want to be safe lah. You want to play safe game. But if you know the theory, you can make things more complicated, more aggressive. It's up to your preference. Okay, it doesn't mean that you need to play this just to say that there are variation for this. But if you want to play safe, then you play this, and so on. So, but at least you know the idea. So this what we call this is two knight. This is Guico piano. When you play this is Guico piano. So normally when you play e4 e5 like this, you have this. You have the Petrov. You have this Ray Lopez or Guico piano, and the third normally you will find this lah. You find the, let's see me, is it correct? The third, yeah, d6. Okay, this is Philidor. This is Philidor. Philidor normally at the top level, this is Philidor defense. Philidor defense. At the top level, black normally don't play this because the Philidor allow white to gain space easily. Because you see, it's quite modest. It's quite modest. So white normally can play this, and then can what we call can play this, and the null move can go here, and white can sort of like develop very easily. But it doesn't mean Philidor is bad. No, Philidor is not bad. It's just not many people like black position, because some people, they are aggressive player like Khalid. Khalid maybe not like to play this thing, because the nature of Khalid play is when I see his play is quite aggressive. So maybe it's not suit Khalid, but maybe it suits someone that like the relax, or they like to defense and then counter attack later on. So it depends on your preference lah. So this is Philidor defense. And then so e4 e5, and then also in the Masum in your level, the most famous also you can you will see people play the French. This French defense, and the French is popular because of this structure lah. So this is French advanced lah. This is French advanced variation. So the French, so you play like this. So this is common structure in French. So if you want to learn about the close opening, so this from black perspective, French is from black perspective. If you look here, the bishop here is cannot go out, and so on. So if you want to learn about how to deal in a close position, try to look game that they open with the French defense. Because the French teach you about how to deal with the cramped position. So that's why, as I said before, even though you don't play French, even though you are d4 player like Safidin, you can learn a lot in terms of how to deal with the close position by learning using French and so on. So yeah, so this is French defense, and even the French defense, they have, so this is basically French lah. Here is the French defense. So how white play they take the variation. This is advanced variation that I said before. So this is Winawer. So they are name lah. This is one most common ni lah common sub variation in French. This is Winawer. This is I think Tarash. I don't know. I don't remember. This may be Tarash if I'm not mistaken. This is Tarash. And then if you just want to don't care, you just eat this basically exchange variation lah. Exchange variation. Okay, the idea for French, normally when you play French, when you are white, you play against French, because French can, if even though you are d4 player, let's say you are d4 player, let's say you play d4 player, you play d4, and then your what we call your opponent play e6, and then you play e4, and then you can transpose to French again also. So that's why you need to know a little bit lah, just a small bit for other opening, not in deep, but at least you know, if you know how to do if let's say your opponent transpose to the opening, the territory that you are not familiar of. So let's go back to the French here. As I said, this is Winawer, this is Tarash, and this is exchange variation. The idea for white, normally for French, the most famous is Winawer variation lah. Let me see here. Is it? Yeah, NC3. So NC3 is the most famous lah. The most famous response to French. One of the characteristic way how to play against French is you try to make this, you try to push this. Okay, I put null move, and then you move your queen somehow here. So that's one of if you are French player, if you are black, normally this the response that you hate most. Okay, because this is the queen d what you call at g4, and then you open whatever lah, you open this knight and so on. Because when you move this d4 in French, you normally push this to e5, and when you push this e5, you sort of like prevent the knight go to f6, and then the queen, that's cause the queen can go here, and the queen here, even though in the opening we don't move the queen early, normally one of the one of the common say in the opening is that you don't move your queen early on, because the queen easily be harassed by your opponent. But in French, you often see if the white play the Winawer variation, the queen goes to g4, because this is quite safe here, and also it make a lot of headache for the black. Black cannot sort of like, you can open this thing and so on. Yeah, so this is one of the way how, not ways, but you will see in French, if let's say you are Winawer, if let's say the Winawer variation is played, you often see this queen g4, one of the main variation in to play against French. Okay, so enough about French. You need to know about the French lah if you play e4, and also you need to know also about the Caro-Kann. Okay, Caro-Kann, this is Caro-Kann. The Caro-Kann, if you are e4 player, this is Caro-Kann. Caro-Kann is is famous for its solid configuration. It's famous for its solid configuration, and normally at Masum level, I mean previous year we have Yamin in our Mustang team. Okay, Yamin is Caro-Kann player, and I believe also a lot of Masum university player they play Caro-Kann. So if you are e4 player, you need to know a little bit about Caro-Kann lah. Just Google what is Caro-Kann. But the idea of Caro-Kann is that you do, it's not Sicilian, so Sicilian go to c5, right? It's less active, it's not active as Sicilian, it's not sharp as Sicilian, but it's solid, because when white play this, normally in Caro-Kann they play this, and you can play advance, you can play capture and so on lah. So normally in Caro-Kann, the Caro-Kann player normally they have this thing, they like whatever this thing, and then let's say you play this thing. In Caro-Kann, typically this is the configuration that they adopt. Okay, this 2 pawn at c6 and also at e6. This is pretty solid, pretty solid. Okay, pretty solid not only solid but also is also give this open semi-open 5. You remember in what we call in D4 opening, okay, in D4 opening, sometimes you see the black goes like this. Let's say null move. Let's say black. Sometimes you see black adopt this triangle configuration. I call it triangle lah. They don't have nine map. It doesn't have name, but I call it triangle configuration. I think Mizan play this also. Formation. This formation, if you compare with Karokan, in Karokan you don't have this pound. Without this pound, you see if black castle this side, this without this pound, this file macam mana nak buang ni tak apalah. Without this pound, imagine there are no pound here. You have this half open D5. Okay, let's go to Karokan again. Where is Karokan? Oh, there's a lot there. So let's say this configuration. So you have this D5 semi-open 5 for black to work on. So the what we call the rook here can go here and try to double there and so on. So normally in Karokan, the what we call the queen, the king normally castle queen side lah. And then also this allow this, you move this small thing that allow the queen can go out. And beware about this check. Beware about this check. Whenever you see your opponent open C pound, beware of this check. Because normally, let's say I put this into note. If you have checked this, whatever you put here will be hanging. Okay, be careful about that. Whenever your opponent play that the little C move, the queen can go out and so on. So this is common in the Karokan. So that is Karokan. So you need to know a little bit, because if you are E4 player, Karokan, and then we have learned about the Sicilian, the idea in Sicilian, and then what else? You also sometimes you get this. This is Scandinavian opening, or I call it Scandinavian or center opening. But I just call it Scandinavian lah. This Scandinavian opening. Okay, so this it seems like black try to be aggressive at the get-go. Okay, but if you play this, the queen comes first and white can go here. So and normally white can go, black will go to A5 and not prevent, discourage this move and so on lah. And the bishop will go here and so on. And in what we call, let's see, opening book. If you look here, if I just click the top, what we call the top move here. So if I click just that, okay, you can see the idea here is almost same like Karokan. Okay, you can see this configuration. Okay, almost similar with the Karokan, the Scandinavian. So sort of like transpose lah, the Scandi. Okay, so you understand Karokan, sort of like you can know a little bit how to play against the Scandinavian. Okay, let's go here. But of course, when you play, if let's say you are black and you play this move, you need to understand also that white is not obliged to eat, okay, to capture whatever you do. Maybe white can just go there and transpose to the French defense. So that's why if you know a lot of opening, somehow knowing a lot of opening doesn't mean you play a lot of opening. Knowing a lot of opening meaning that you read a lot of that opening. Maybe you familiar with the idea behind the opening. It doesn't mean you need to play the opening. Maybe you can play that for the surprise weapon and so on. Because remember, in life, you cannot know everything. If you try all the different opening, let's say you go to Masum and you play all the different opening each game, if each round you play different opening, then if you are very good enough, then it's okay. If you are so top level, you can play any opening. But even top level also try to specialize. Okay, there are value, there are virtue in specialization. Okay, but also there are danger also of specialization. So you need to find the balance lah. Okay, and then you have that, and then also you have this thing. This is perk lah. Normally, nowadays people don't. Yeah, normally this is perk variation. Normally you play this. This is perk. This is perk. This is perk variation. So this is perk. It's like what we call. It's like the French, but French you see French like this. French like this, but perk like this. Okay, French like this, perk like this. Okay, so normally is nowadays people don't play perk like this. Okay, because if you play like this, then what can transpose? That's why I said transposition. What can transpose to the this Philidor? So now as if black playing the Philidor. Okay, so in perk normally the modern idea is now is to play this thing lah, to play this thing internal move. Okay, let's say the idea for now, the idea for black is normally the black will try to castle here and yeah, play this thing. So this the idea of the perk lah, and normally in perk you will see often they play this thing, and the queen typically go here lah, go here. The reason why the queen go here is to protect this the square. So this is the idea in perk lah. Okay, so that is basically, and there are also the Alekin variation like this. Okay, so you can, so there are Alekin variation like this. Later I will tell you a little bit about Alekin variation, but basically this is four attack. So this Alekin, so this Alekin variation. So is this Alekin variation, Alekin opening is we can say provocative opening. Okay. Because now black allow white to sort of like to it's like provocative lah. I can call it provocative opening. Provocative opening, because black allow white to set up the what we call the broad center. The broad center. You see? Yeah, you see that. This is for palm attacks in Alekin variation. So we learned in the last class that the space is important. So here we can see, but with space, as I said last class, although space gaining is important, but remember those who have space also have more responsibility to sort of like what we call to sort of like to maintain their space, because here you can see there are a lot of empty. It's like a vacuum here. You see, there are a lot of vacuum here. So be careful also. You can have a space, but be careful also with the vacuum there, because you need here this space is not really sort of like terrifying because of there are a lot of vacuum. Okay, compare with the game with Kur. Okay, let's say I show you the game yesterday. The yesterday game, the Safidin with the Kur is a little bit different. Where is the Safidin game? Kur. Okay, Safidin game yesterday is quite different. If you see here, so now here is different than the Alekin opening just now that I show, because now the black also cram. The black cram. You cannot really coming out. So this is total domination in terms of space. When I show you this, is a little bit different. This is not total domination, because black can still be flexible. Okay, so that's different. So now, even though white have more space, be careful of the vacuum here. Okay, so let's see about how people play against this thing. Okay, so how to see that? Maybe we can go to reference. In chess base, if you have chess base, you can go to reference, and then in reference, what happened is that it try to look in your reference database. My reference database is the one that have like 8.7 million the thing lah. So now he try to find any game that have this configuration. Okay, so you see this thing, and you see this hotness, meaning that hot meaning trending lah. So if you see the popularity, you can also see a lot of stuff. If you have database, this is what you can get lah. You can see, okay, they are like a sudden jump in popularity in 1970 whatever, and then nowadays is decreasing but still okay. And hotness, meaning that is quite trending nowadays. It's still trending. Even Carlson is a world champion. For current world champion, also use this Alakin defense as from black perspective. Okay, so if let's say you have chess base or database, that's why I start with teaching you about database. What is the purpose of that? Is this. Nowadays, let's say you want to know something about this, how to play against, let's say you are black, you want to see how to play against this 4 sort of like intimidating pawn coming towards you. So how to play against this? So let's go to reference and see some game. Maybe we take game from by the world champion itself. See how he play. Okay, it takes time. I just know it's okay. Waiting for move. Why is not moving? Just now it's okay. Maybe I open the code. I close this first. Maybe I go this first. Let's say I move here first, and then I move here, and then I go to reference again. Okay, it's okay. So let's see one game how you can use database to learn the opening. Okay, let's say here, go here, and then let's say we want to see how black defends against this 4 fearsome attack, 4 pawn attack by. So let's go to black. Let's go yellow. Okay, yellow mean this. Yellow mean this. I give you this chess knowledge mapping. Yellow is this name of the person, Apart, Elo Apart, benda lah nama dia. I also don't know, but basically Elo is a number of rating lah. So this is not the rating that you see in the league chess. Your rating in the league chess is just a rating for the sake of the online chess. It mean nothing lah. It mean nothing for the official. It's not official rating. This rating you get when you play FIDE tournament. So you see, if you have GM, the higher the number, the stronger you are lah. So GM is 2.5 plus. Okay. World champion nowadays is 2.8 something lah. 2.8 something. And then this IM 2.4 whatever. So you see this lah. When I say GM, you know lah. GM is strong player. IM is lower a little bit. And FM and so on. So refer this sheet if you want lah. Okay. So now, we sort, let's say we want to see how black plays. So we sort by black yellow. Okay, so you see 3000. This 3000 is because you play online. You see here. Let me make it small here so that you can see something here. Okay. So this, there are no 3000 rating yet in normal FIDE lah. The highest is 2.8 something. So here is because it play Bliss online. So this basically the rating online, not the actual FIDE rating, the one that I show GM and so on. So that's why you can see in online people go to 3000 something lah. But I don't want to see the game by this. I want to see the game by Carlson, the world champion. So this, you see the rating is lower than 3000. Why? Is it Botanic is stronger than Carlson? No, because you see the Carlson, you see here is Bliss. Bliss in Title Thursday. Title Thursday is basically a tournament organized by the chess.com. Okay, chess.com. I just for you one of the, apart for league chess, you can play chess also at chess.com. So this is more robust lah compared to league chess. But the problem with chess.com is that you cannot store your game. You need to pay lah in order to store the game lah. But most of the GM and so on, they play here. They sort of like play here because the chess.com is quite established and they can offer a lot of money. So Title Tuesday is basically the tournament organized by the chess.com. Every Tuesday, only the title player lah play. So more or less like that. So let me see here. So you see this is 3000 is basically not the real ni lah, real name, real what we call real apa orang panggil real ni. So if let's say I just go here and then I just open one more thing and then I put the name, I cannot copy here. I think I cannot copy here. I cannot copy this thing. Okay, maybe I can copy here. No. Okay, you see GM title GM. So no need to open this thing because you can just click here. You can get all the data. So you can see so it's only 25 years old. So the GM, the rating is 2.6. The real rating for this botanic, whatever the name, is 2.6. Okay, the real rating, but the online rating is 3000 from Ukraine. Close. Okay, so no need to open this lot of tab because I afraid that my computer will be lagging if I do that. So you can see, so this Carlson, if I open this, so this Carlson play against, so let's see this lah, Hikaru play Magnus. Okay, so here Carlson Tower whatever final rapid. Okay, so this when you don't see like the name of the online, so meaning that this is actual game lah, on the board game, not online game. So in 2020 last year, so this is on the board game. So and this is rapid, meaning that not Blitz. Normally when I want to see the game, when I want to see the game how people play, I prefer not Blitz because Blitz people make mistake easily. People make mistake. But of course, if you are at high level, even though Blitz, even though Bullet, still the top player play like as if the quality that the game is pretty strong lah. So this Hikaru and Carlson. So let's see how Carlson as a black. So you see here the small one here, how black play against this four phalanx of phalanx. Is that the term? 4 pound lah, 4 pound. It seems like aggressive, but how you see how black wins. So this is 0-1 0-1. So let's see how black win. So I just go fast, but just give you the idea. Just look here. Just look at the small. I think you can see, right? So let me make bigger lah. Let me make bigger. Let me make it bigger. Ni. Okay. Just see on this right side how black, how you want to sort of like counter the space gaining opponent. Okay. So you see, you eat, you must eat. Okay, so this thing, so let me, so this basically, okay, so basically you must first, as I said, you must break the center. If not, you get like a Kur play with Safidin. You don't break the center, then you just get smothered in the big space lah. So you must at first you need break the center, and then you take it out normally your bishop because you want to play that. You want to play the e6, okay, and then you want to castle. That's why open. But this is important to break. So when your opponent have a big center, you need to break. You cannot just allow your opponent stay like that. At the beginning it's okay, but you must break. No matter what, you must break the center, or else you will end up by getting suffocated behind their center. So you need to break. So this is one way to break. Okay. So you see how Carlson play. Okay. So now it start to sort of like move all the piece attacking all the center. So you need to do something. You cannot just expect what we call thing become okay if you are play against those who have this big center. For example, if you look here, Carlson doesn't castle yet because for him this king is quite safe there, and then it's more important to develop, okay, at this moment lah. But of course you need to see also if the king can be compromised, then do castle first. But here the king is okay in the middle for time being. Of course Carlson will castle after that. You just still need to castle, and then you see how black break this what we call the center. Okay, so now you see the knight go there, and then So now you can see white start to need to defend. Okay, because there are a lot of vacuum there. Lot of vacuum. Even this knight, there are a lot of vacuum behind. Okay, so you need to okay. You see this knight. So the way how he play knights there. So you see, and then you play that, and then you go there, and then whatever, and then you get the pawn. Okay. So now the black get the 1 pawn advantage lah, and then enough for win for him lah. Although if you are white here, let's say you are white here, don't stop play lah. But for at least for high level, this 1 pawn advantage, just calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 1 pawn advantage here is enough for the top level player to grind, to win. So of course, still takes a long time, but that's how the difference between top level play and our play lah. So yeah, so you see lah. So this whatever this all this get another pawn and all these things. So you can see this knight, how agile this knight, and so on. And you see this knight right is at the rim. I said yesterday, knight at the rim is a dim, meaning that normally you don't want to put knight at the rim. But remember, everything is relative. Every rule is meant to be broken. If let's say the knight at the rim, at the side is okay, then why it's okay. So you don't need to sort of like to believe whatever rule that is given by the literature or whatsoever, because every rule is meant to be broken. Nowadays in the modern chess, people tend to go for the concrete analysis. If the knight on the side here is okay, then it's okay. Okay, so the only rule that valid in chess is this: checkmate, end the game. That's the only rule that have no, what we call, no ambiguity lah. The other rule, knight at the rim and so on, you can always broke that rule if the position allow lah. So, but generally the rule is people give the rule so that to address the general idea, only the generic is okay, but for the specific, every position requires specific evaluation. Whatever rule is generic. For every position, there are concrete evaluation. So that's the difference. Okay, and so on. So you can see here. So we done lah. We don't go down lah. But basically, if you have this center, you just break. What do you think? You just break. You need to break. First, you need to break. Regardless whatever, you need to break that center. If not, it will suffocate you. So that is enough for this Alakin. I call it Alakin, right? Alakin, this what we call this. Even though you see your opponent play like this, don't get discouraged lah. Because yeah, you can play against this broad center, but you need to break that center. So that's the idea. And also I want to show here is I show also this game also in order to show you that the advantage of having database. Okay, if you have your own game only in your computer, for example, if I have only your chess league in my computer, none of you play Alakin, right? Alakin variation, the NFC, the one that I show here lah, the NFC variation. None of you play this thing. None of you play this Alakin. So let me close lah. I think this is okay. NFC ah. Okay, none of you play this Alakin variation, Alakin opening. So in order for me to understand the Alakin, I cannot refer your games because there are no games. So that's why the use of the big database. You can learn from the great. You can learn from those who are master, expert, professional, the GM and so on. And you can go the idea, and then you can just look at the game and so on. You somehow get the idea. You just go fast, and then by doing that you get the idea lah. So let me go to notation again. So that's Alakin. It's a provocative opening. It's sort of like allow you to push, but it will sort of like snap you later. Okay. So another provocative opening is like a ground field, whatever, so on lah. So that's Alekin. If you are D4 player, normally NF3, okay, NF3, when you play NF3, normally it's transposed like transposed to D4, because when you play D4, there are times when you play NF3 and normally it's transposed. If you see a Safidin game, normally Safidin game transposed to this NF3 and then you have D4, if I'm not mistaken lah. But basically in D4, you also need to know something lah. Normally in D4, against D4, you have D5, again D5. Okay, so you you have this is queen pawn opening, so we call it queen pawn opening. Queen pawn opening. The most common one when you play this D4, D5. If you are white, if you are black, you will see the white will open with the C4. This is like we call it. This is not a gambit, a gambit. Okay, you might think that, oh, this give it free. It's not free, because you can always take it straight away. So that's straight away. So it's not free, it's not free. And let's say you don't want to move your queen early, and then you want to do this thing. You want to capture with the bishop, because when you capture with the bishop, not only you capture the pawn, you get the pawn back, but also you develop at the same time. So let's say you want to do this, you don't want to play queen, move a lot of things. So you want to develop and also you want to this. And let's say the black protect that, and white can play this. You might think, why you play this? why white play this? Because if black capture, then you have this 2 pawn. 2 pawn is free. Sort of like you break the structure of the black pawn and so on. Okay, and let's say you cannot play this, because now this thing is not undefended lah, because you can capture and then you can just take this thing lah, you can just take that thing. So you cannot also do that. And also, if let's say you don't play A6, let's say you play this thing, you also lose straight away lah, because you can just take this, and then you have this thing. Okay, so this is basically you get this for free lah. So because there are nothing, you cannot block that thing. Okay, so that's why this, you sort of like seeing that white seems like giving pawn for free, but not. This is not a gambit. Gambit mean giving thing free lah. When I say gambit, it mean free lah. So this is not free. So this is a pawn queen opening. So this normally when white play d4 and c4, normally is followed by c4. That's why you can see Safidin games always he want to play c4 first, and then only then he move the knights. Okay, so this is c4, and then from here you can have this. Okay, this is what we call the queen gambit declined. Queen gambit decline. So I just put QGD. So basically queen gambit decline, and then basically the idea for queen gambit decline is like this. So you can, if you have a database, you can just go here, opening book, and then you just click on the top, click to top, click on the top, because this is the most famous one, and then you get the idea how people play. So that's the way how you study lah. So this is a basic the idea in what we call the queen gambit lah. But even the queen gambit decline here, there are a lot of variation. For example, if you have this thing later on, let's say if white play null move, let's say white play like this, instead null move, black play like this, and then black play like this, and then black play like this. This is what we call Tata-Kower variation. This is Tata-Kower. Tata-Kower variation, where black create the bishop, they put the bishop here. Okay, so that is Tata-Kower variation in queen gambit decline. So I don't go any more variation anymore. I will not go to other variation anymore, but at least to tell you that queen gambit decline also like the Sicilian, they have a lot of variation, but the most important variation for me, if you are black, okay, you play against the queen gambit. Okay, let's say you are black now. The most common, the what we call, one of the variation that you need to know well is exchange variation. This, okay, this is what this is, how to play. Okay, this and then this. Cancel. Okay, let me see. You play this, and then you play this. Okay, normally, okay, one of the most common variation, not most lah, the most important variation that you need to know in Queen Gambit Decline is exchange variation. This is exchange variation. Exchange variation. This is exchange variation. Because why? Exchange variation. Because why you need to know this? Because this you cannot avoid. Okay, if white want to exchange, then you cannot avoid. You cannot avoid. Apa ni? You cannot avoid because white can always take. Okay, there are things that you cannot avoid. There are things that you can avoid. This white can always take. Okay, so this is what we call the exchange variation. You need to know a little bit how to play against this lah. Okay, so the exchange variation. So they normally, if you go to opening book, okay, if I go here, this is not opening book. It's basically the statistic. The way how people play is like this: bishop g5, bishop e7. It's totally different than if the idea when you play. The reason why you need to know this is because if black doesn't take this, if white doesn't take this, the way how you play is totally different than how you play in exchange variation. Because in exchange variation, black have this semi-open file, and so on. I think somebody open the mic, so if you want to ask, it's okay. But if you don't, please mute the mic. So you see here, in exchange variation, you need to know something that we call Carlsbad variation lah. This is what we call Carlsbad. This Carlsbad variation. This Carlsbad or not? This is not Carlsbad. When I say Carlsbad, is this Carlsbad. K-A-R-L-S-B-A-D. Carlsbad structure. Okay, Carlsbad structure. I think it's Carlsbad structure. Let me go to YouTube first. Not YouTube, just Wikipedia lah. Carlsbad structure. Carlsbad structure. I will not discuss much about the Carlsbad structure today. And not this year. This masuk maybe next coaching whatever, next year coaching whatever. But Carlsbad structure is this. The most common structure the most common structure arising from majority of queens pawn opening. If you play d4, you need to know about this culture. They call it Carlsbad pawn structure. Okay, so this is basically Carlsbad pawn structure. Normally Carlsbad pawn structure, you have this thing what color? You have this Carlsbad pawn structure, and there are no pawn here. Okay, there are a lot of idea. One of the idea is to do the minority attack here. So the minority attack. Hopefully you all know about this. If I will not discuss that here. But it's totally different when you play normal Queen Gambit Decline. When white doesn't take, on the d5, the structure is totally different. It's not like this. Okay, the idea is totally different lah. So that's one thing you need to know. For if you play d4, please pay particular attention on exchange variation. Just YouTube exchange variation Carlsbad structure, because that is the most common. And if let's say if you play d4, and if white want to, if you are black, you are facing Queen Gambit Decline. If you are facing Queen Gambit, if your opponent play d4 and you play d5, you need to consider about this capture, because you cannot avoid that. You need to know whether you like it or not. This exchange variation, the idea behind that, and I show you before how to understand, how to know the idea behind the opening is by looking at the database and so on. Okay, so now that is exchange variation. So that's one most important thing when you want to deal with the Queen Gambit Decline. But normally in Queen Gambit Decline, people play this thing, f3 and c6, e3 and b7, bishop d3, and then suddenly they eat or whatever. Normally in Queen Gambit, black, the idea for black is that you go here. Let's say you castle lah. Let's say you go here. The idea for black, I just give the idea for black lah. This formation. So this is the common idea in Queen Gambit lah. So you see, compared to the variation in exchange variation, is quite different because now you have the bishop cannot go out and so on. You normally in Queen Gambit, if you are black, the problem is this bishop. How you want to do with this? Do you want to go here, or do you want to push here, and so on? So that's the idea that you need to understand. Normally, this bishop, if you can get it out, then normally you are okay in as black lah. So that is Queen Gambit. If let's say this you capture, if let's say you play c4, if you are white, you play c4 and then black capture, this is what we call Queen Gambit accepted lah. QGA or Queen Gambit accepted. Okay, Queen Gambit accepted. And then what else? You can have, there are a lot of games lah. There are a lot of way how to play against this, or you can play Catalan. Okay, so for example, normally not the correct move order here, but basically you need to also know about Catalan. Okay, so here, castling. So this is Catalan. I mean, the move order may be not right, but this is set up for Catalan. The reason why this is important, if you are black, and your opponent play d4 or an f3, you need to know a little bit about Catalan, because Catalan is one of the most famous opening lah. Safidin play Catalan, although it start with an f3. So Safidin more or less Catalan player lah, roughly. Although sometimes he not play bishop g3. But if you see the bishop at g2 and you have d pawn here, this is basically Catalan setup lah. So you need to know how to play this. As a black, you need to know how to play against Queen Gambit exchange. If you are black, and facing d4, you need to know how to play Queen Gambit decline, exchange variation, because that you cannot. If white want to play that, you cannot get away. Or if white play Catalan, okay. So because these are two famous. There are another one which is London. This London, the one that I show you. They are also London, but London is a little bit different. In London opening. So for example, you can see here I push here right. But if let's say white play this, now you know that somehow it give you a hint. For black, it give you a hint that white not want to play this thing. Might play or might not, because most probably for white he will play London. So for example, let's say go here, NF6, because London is quite, you see, you can play c4, but currently London, they start to what we call, they start to gain popularity. If you go to reference here, if I go to reference, meaning that it take from my database, if I see the popularity, nowadays London is quite popular. You see, you see here. Let me go here. So it's very popular nowadays. Even in the Masum, the London very popular. So even top player play that, and you can see this graph now. It's very rare to see the graph like this. In 19 blah 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 whatever. Suddenly now in 1980, the popularity of London opening is increasing. That's why it's important also to get to know about the popularity of some opening, because with the popularity you know what you can expect most. Okay, so this London, and all top player play London. Most of the time they play London opening. Okay, and even if let's say you might say, this is top player, this is your database. Maybe not in the Masum, maybe not in our level. Okay, if that the case, let's go to your games. Okay, let's see, not your game, not your Masum league, but I pull data. Let's say I got this, pull data 250 games. If I pull this data, let's say I have pulled this data is what data? This data is data since last year. Well, blah blah blah. Last year, I put this. Okay. Since last year, I put date. Okay, you see here. Okay, What is this data? What is this database? Is from the last year, you know, the Mustang, your player, some of you play last year. So this is Masum 2020 selection. So you see Sarah, Izati, Mizan, and so on play in this selection last year, and so on. And also include the Lichess League last year. Last year we do 45 minutes because the tournament is 45 minutes. So last year we do league for 45 minutes. Include also the Masum games, meaning that the actual tournament, the actual Masum tournament last year. So that's why you can see, you see the game from what we call unit from USIM. So this from USIM you can see here, right? USIM. So Hafiz Jamil play against Uniza, and then Faiz play against what? Upsi. Nuril play against UPM. So that's why you see the name of the university there. So and then also include the database that I show you include what? Your first selection, your Masum first selection. I mean for Khalid and so on. You do 2 selection, right? Khalid, whatever Khalid got, right? So Khalid, and also for the sister selection, the Kur and also Aisyah, you enter the second selection. And also our Lichess, our current league, okay, until yesterday. Okay, until yesterday we already play 60 games. As I said, so all of this around 250 games in one database. Now I want to see what is the common opening. Okay, okay. So what to do? You select everything and then you go to output. Not output, statistic lah. Statistic. And we go to echo. What is echo? Echo, ECO. Echo ni maksud dia apa? Echo is mean Encyclopedia of Chess Opening, ECO. Long time ago, early time, they don't have this name now. They have name, but the way how they classify, because you see just now, I talk to you about the name of the opening, but how they classify the opening. So early on, they classify with the codes A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. So they classify with the codes. So if you look here, for A, English, whatever, blah, 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 blah. For B, Sicilian, you know about Sicilian just now. Karukan, Perk, whatsoever. C is open game, whatever, blah, blah. Later I will explain a little bit lah about this. But it's just a name, a number lah, a number. It's like a code. So let's see here. Apa benda saya merepek ni? Okay, this. Okay, what is the most common game played in this database that include all the game of you Mustang in the selection last year, in also Masum tournament, and also Lichess selection this year, and also Lichess League this year. So we go here because this A until E, everything, every opening. So we go to games. I go to games. So you see, they are sort of like very strange. I mean, this what we call not outlier, meaning that this is quite something happening here. So if you look here, if you go this opening, all the opening played, all the opening played in this database, but it's classified against the eco code. Okay, so you see this, what is this long, this thing? So this long, I mean that 35, almost 35 games played using this opening. What is this opening? D02. Okay, D02. Remember that D02. What is D02? Okay, luckily I have this. Opening encyclopedia. What is my comment? So this is opening encyclopedia. Okay, it's under chess base also, but okay, so I can find using this echo list. So if I go to echo list, we want to see what is echo D02. Okay, so we go to D02, the A, blah blah blah. You see the name of the opening, there's a lot. We're not finished yet with the name, but there's a lot of name. Sicilian, there are a lot of variation there. So D, C, D. Okay, D02. What is D02? London system. London system. So if you open that, you see that this opening encyclopedia give you some idea lah. So this is you see what does it mean by this opening encyclopedia? Meaning that this article is written by Rainer Knapp. Rainer Knapp. Control C. Let's go. Who is Rainer Knapp? Who is Rainer Knapp? I think I cannot copy. So I cannot copy that. I need to Reina kena. Reina kena. So you see Reina kena is German chess grandmaster. Reina kena here is German chess grandmaster. Chess grandmaster, as you see, is a strong player. So in opening encyclopedia here, all the what we call the one that you see just now, all this article is written by the grandmaster strong player. So they give you the idea lah. So here they tell you how not to fear the London system. Okay, so you see here, after d4 d5, what does not play c4, but rather nf3, the one that I show you lah. Then we start to suspect that he intend to follow up with bf4, blah 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 lah, blah 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 blah. And then no matter what black play now, white player with white continue rapidly because they have their standard plans with reply for everything. And the worst of it, they usually obtain an advantageous position. That's why nowadays you can see the popularity that I showed just now. A lot of people play this London opening because that. Since they all, so what can we do about it? So if you have this opening encyclopedia, you can get the idea. And also not only that, each the article here, they give you the reference to the games and so on, and you just click later on. So I just let me talk about London system for a while, because I think Safidin used the London system. He played also London system again. I think again Faiz Sakari, if I'm not mistaken. Later maybe we can see their game. Let's see their let's see Faiz Sakari, if I'm not mistaken lah. Let me go coaching 3 Faiz Sakari. I think the with the Faiz Sakari Safidin. Okay, so you can see I just go straight blah 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 blah. So okay, so that is London lah. That's London. So later I will explain about this lah. So let's see a little bit about opening of London. London opening, because it's famous. Okay, we are not finished yet about this. We are not yet finished about this. Okay, just show you that it's popular now, but yeah, we stop there. We stop at London opening, but not yet all the opening yet. Okay, so I will go focus a little bit now on London opening. London opening. London opening because it's famous. You can see in Masum also, people play London a lot. Safidin also play London, and yeah, London you need to know how to play against this. So in order to do that, it's okay. I can use this. Let me make it small. Let me make it view. How to? Maybe I put it mini board. You get small. This I can make it like this, because this I need to do like this. This I close first, because this you can close. This I can close, so that you can sort of like see what they talk, and also at the same time I can show something lah. Let me open this. Here I cannot move this lah. I cannot move this thing. So yeah, they cannot move. I cannot move this thing. So that's why it's okay. I just put here. So you see the board. You see the board. Okay, let's talk a little bit about London opening, because it's most famous opening nowadays. So you see, it tell you the article said no fear of London opening. Okay, no fear of London opening. So this London opening, if one and bishop f4. Bishop f4. So now, so the recommendation is c5. The recommendation is c5. Because why? You see, naturally this is not the only move. As of course there are many moves, you can play many moves, right? But it is good thing to break the symmetry very quickly, or else thing will turn out to white advantage. Two sample games show us that what white would like to see. So what we must avoid. So the good thing about this opening is already give you this lah, the reference. So let me open just a little bit about this. See how what is the ideal position for white in London if black don't know how to play against London. So let me click that. So they open a new ni. So Just go very quick. So let's say now black play this. Black play c6 instead of c5. So black play like a modest opening. Modest opening. I mean the typical queen, the typical what we call the queen gambit style. Okay. And then you see what happened. Okay, normally London, I not go detail one by one, but give you the idea only. So you see in London, normally queen go to b3. Queen go to b3, and normally black try to, what we call, try to sort of like, what we call that? Try to oppose that thing, because if not, this queen can create havoc here. Okay. And then c5. C5. So one of the thing in London, this move C5 can push the thing goes back, and maybe you say that okay, now white have this what we call double pound. Is it good or is it bad? In this case, it's good. It's not good. I mean, in this case, it's okay. Even though it's double pound, normally this what we call double pound. Double pound is not really good lah. Normally, generically, because if you have double pound, this square on the top here is weak. It's weak, huh? But here, black cannot really utilize this square. So this double pawn here particularly is not very bad. It's okay, because now this pawn can be used to sort of like ram this c pawn to basically undermine the black c pawn. So that's okay. So remember, double pawn, even though generally people say double pawn is bad, but it depends on the position. Most of the time, double pawn is okay. Okay, so you take the a time b3 and then you go a6. Okay, because and then you see white straight away utilize his double pawn, because if white doesn't go up, and then the double pawn become double pawn lah. So now better you sacrifice or whatever for this double pawn rather than you just put it on the b3. So you just push it, and then this, you see how black play, s3. This is normally in London, white want to save this bishop. White want to save this bishop, so that if black play this, the bishop can go back to can go back to the h2. So that's the reason why in London opening you almost always see that black or white will play this little move. Okay. Little move, this S move, okay, regardless white or black. Normally you can see this in London. So you see ND2, okay. So you see what black want to do. The reason why so you see ND2, the reason is the knight is setting out on its way to A5. Okay, you want to go here and here. So that's why in London, if you look in the annotation just now, they said that in London white have this easy plan. It's very clear for white. So that's why black need to know how to deal with the London. So ND2, and then you just open. You see the black position is quite cramped, right? This knight cannot go anywhere and so on. So you go. So you see, and then the knight, the bishop goes to D6, preventing the castling, and then you eat whatever you. And then you go there to take this b pawn. So the bishop, the rook cannot go here, because the bishop just take it, and then like it or not, the black need to eat that. And once this happen, you see now you have the double, the opposite color bishop. Opposite color bishop is drawish in endgame, but in middle game, opposite color bishop is drawish in endgame, but opposite color bishop favor the attacker in the middle game, because you see now there are no one that can sort of like what we call, not compromise, tease this. There are no one can there are no one can really dislodge this bishop, this dark square, because so we can see now the white have this dark square control because black, by having light square bishop, only can control the light square but cannot control the dark square. So that's why we can say this is square complex where the white have a firm control of the dark square. Okay, so this dark square here, even the knight can go anywhere, but still the knight cannot go out. So knight is sort of like, yeah, cannot go out like that. And not only that, the white can go here and do this attack along this semi-open file. Okay, so if you look at this position, you see how, yeah, you see the rook go to this semi-open file and try to attack on b7 here because this weak. But when, of course, now for time being the king can protect that, but you see this rook, it seems like this rook is not active at all and just be there for what you call, for just that. So as if like white play with the one rook advantage, because this rook is no use there. Okay, and see how white play, move another rooks and so on and whatever and so on, and just win. And you see the dark square control of white here, right? The dark square control is a master of the dark square lah. We can say white is the master of dark square because the knight, even though it can move, but it cannot go further lah. Okay, so if you look here, if you look at our what we call this schedule, I see here there are middle game one this evening, right? When you teaching about the opening, when I'm teaching about opening, somehow I'm teaching also about middle game. Okay, so is opening and middle game sort of like you need to know also when you learn about the opening, you need to know a little bit of is connected. Opening and middle game is connected. So that's why this evening also maybe I explain about opening and also middle game also. It's like that. Okay, it's much better because you need to know how to relate opening and middle game. And normally you can survive the opening, but if you don't know what to do in the middle game, then you just tend to memorize only the opening but don't understand the middle game. So it's good for me to sort of like, when I teach you opening, I also teach you also middle game. So currently we are talking about the what we call the London now 10:52. So we have another 8 minutes. So let's us go to the London again. So you see now this is what black doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to do, and this is what we call the ideal for the London player. Okay, the ideal, I mean the ideal configuration for London lah. They really sort of like suffocate black. The reason is because normally not this is not the only reason, but because this C pawn, this C6 pawn, the move, this little move doesn't really address this ni lah. When you play Queen Gambit, okay, when you play Queen Gambit, this bishop normally here. Okay, normal Queen Gambit, the bishop is here. It's not on F4. So that's why when you play F6 here, even though you play this C6, it's not really problematic. The dark square here is okay. The queen can go here. Okay, the queen can go here. If you play Queen Gambit decline, if you are white, the black queen can go to C7, this C7. But when you play London, you put the bishop at F4, then the queen cannot go here. And you must be careful about the dark square control. The dark square control around your camp. So that's why they recommend, so I can close this. This is what? This is London system. Okay, this I can close. Yes, no, no. Okay, so that's why here they recommend C5. So you see, this is the good thing about having somebody to tell you something. I mean, you can use, I can go here, I can just go, let's say I view, let's say layout, default layout. Default layout standard layout. Let me coming back for a while. You can, okay, you can, for example, let's say here, you can just go to opening book and just click there. You can click there, but you sort of, when you do like that, unless you get the idea what does it mean, then it's very hard for you to understand. You know this, people play this, But why? Why people play c5? Why people play e6? So that's the reason why if you have somebody, for example, a coach or like what we call an article, that's why you need to read the article, the literature, in order to get that, the human touch. Okay, the human touch. Mainboard mana? Box kecil. Big notation, mini board. Okay, that's this the advantage of having. Oh, apa besar sangat ni. Sekejap ya. Okay, that's the advantage of having people annotate. Okay, computer cannot do this. Computer doesn't tell you all these things. Computer just tell you plus minus this thing. That's why when you play chess, yeah, computer give you only can learn in the chess when you do the computer analysis. Yes, you can learn, but mostly what you learn is about blunder or tactic. But the fine, the subtle thing, the fine reason why this, especially in positional chess, then computer, you need to interpret what computer said. Okay, so that's why I said computer engine is good for tactical, for finding the mistake, the drastic mistake and so on. But let's say you are strong player, you play against strong player, and then these two player doesn't really do any any obvious mistake. How can you use computer to help you to understand the game? So that's the thing that the computer cannot do. Computer can give you evaluation, but you need to interpret. The more you read, the more you see the game, you see how the expert play, you sort of like get the idea why this and why that. If you have somebody talking like this, it's much easier lah. So you see c5, naturally this is not the only move, but it's a good thing to break the symmetry very quickly and blah blah blah. So and so on before coming to so all these things, they tell you all this thing lah. Maybe I will continue a little bit during the second session this evening. So if you want to see the continuation of this, don't forget to come this evening. No, don't forget. You need to come lah. Come this evening, and I will see also because I will see one game that played by Safidin and I think Faiz this evening, and see how that different than London. They play London, but how they different as we go also to the middle game, until the middle game, because now also I talking about the middle game also. Yeah, I think for time being that's it for this what we call this today morning session. We will continue in the what we call in the evening session, but in the evening session I will start with this London lah, because we continue with this. So maybe for now, let me standard layout. Okay, so what we learned just now is that we learned that there are many type of opening. I teach you about the name of some opening. We still not finished, so maybe we will continue later. But what I show today is just the reason why I give you the name of the opening, tell you about this name, so that easy for you to do YouTube search or whatever if you want to learn that particular opening that suit you lah. And then we see how to study the opening, how to use the statistic, and also how to use the opening encyclopedia, what is echo, and so on. So so this evening we will continue again with the opening plus with the middle game, because it's better for you to understand the relationship between opening and middle game. And that's it for this morning session. So any questions? So let me open this thing. Any question? For some of you, maybe this session quite easy, but for some of you maybe quite like a lot of things. But yeah, I need to also cater for those who are good, who have a lot of who are expert lah, like Safidin and so on. I need to cater them also, so I cannot just keep talking about the tactical blunder and so on. I need to also cater the the strong player also. So that's why you see this time I go very fast. If you cannot really follow, I always keep the recording. and then I will post to you and upload, and you can watch it slowly. So, any question? Any question? So I think no question lah. I think because we will continue again this this what we call this evening 2:30 2:30. We will continue again 2:30. Yep. So that's it for today. Anything you can ask me through WhatsApp. And yeah, so I don't want to take your time more, and I also want to rest. It's 2 hours talking. Okay, so I'll see you at 2:30. So we end our current session with a recitation of Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As.